Okay, we're going through a bunch of book a pass user stories here. I'm going to start with one of the more unusual user stories. That is, a person has bulk purchased a set of passes. They haven't provided a name and email address for each person, and therefore we don't know their details. And they've either being given a spreadsheet of all the passes or a set of emails, and then the person gets told the email and then gets told the booking code, and they can either go pick a class in through the studio interface, or they can follow the link in the pass, which is what I'm simulating here. I'm trying to find a pass that I haven't set name on. There's a bunch of test ones that I've generated bulk style. Okay. There you go. So this pass does not have an email address, first name, or a last name. I'm going to try and make a booking against a test studio that doesn't have a booking, that doesn't have a class in the future either. So that means the whole choose a class thing goes away as well. And we can not make a booking because we don't know of any classes. And so it's changing to just pay for a class. So I can still pay for our class, still turn up without having used our bulk yogahive pass and attend. We just can't book because we don't know what the class is. So I've filled out my email address, first name, last name. That'll be saved in the system, and we'll be able to email them a receipt saying they've paid for the class, so they can show that to the studio when they get there. And that is trying to book a class without a class or without any personal user details. Okay, let's do some student-based user stories now for the yogahive passes. So as a student, I've gone and bought my pass or had one given to me by my generous organisation, and I want to actually book a class. So I go through the website. I already know the name of the studio that I want to go to, and it's this test one, and down here there's a booking. So I pick the class that I want to go to, which is just there. If there's no classes here, then I really need to find the pay for a class link on the email or PDF that I was given when I bought the pass, because they got the links for direct redeems. So, but in this case, I want to book ahead of time, and that means that I've clicked on the class that I want to go to. So I fill out my code. Everything else is already filled out because I already picked the class, which means I've picked the studio. So I pay my yogahive or studio pass here and push submit. Away we go. So as long as I've not used this twice at this studio, which I have, then I'd be fine. So let's try that again. Then you pass code, push submit. Okay, so I used my pass. I've made my booking, and I've got 4 yogahive passes left. And I'll get an email, studio will get an email saying that I've booked with them, and they'll just let me straight in the class because they know that I've used my yogahive pass. Okay, and if I'd used a studio pass, then I would only be able to book at the particular studio. Okay, further on student user cases. So I've got a code, I got sent a pass, and I can click on the either book or pay for a course, pay for a class links, and I get sent to here. If I want to pay for a class, I've turned up to the class. I have my code in the link, so it's already filled out. I need to pick a studio. I'm at my test studio. I can pick a class or not. So like if I've just turned up, then I can either be nice and mark the class so that people know how many students turned up, or I can just say no class and push submit, and I show the teacher the result, and the teacher lets me in. That's it. So again, you can only use yogahive pass at the same studio twice, and you can only use studio passes at a single studio that sells it. Okay. Now, the studios also have their own set of items. If someone turns up to a class, or if they write down all the passcodes, then they can claim it so they can get paid from yogahive. Okay, somehow I move this window around. And here's me at my studio login. So still got to move this window around. Shrink. Fit in. Fit in the box. There you go. So there's my studio dashboard. And I can either click claim up here, which sends me to a nice form, but with no class filled out. And I just type in the code, or I can type by cash or credit card. If the pass doesn't have a username, it doesn't have an email attached to it, then I get prompted for the email address, and it's okay. So the same thing as here, claim or add booking. Add a booking is send me to a, fills out the studio because I am logged in as a studio, and then it fills out the class as well, so I don't need to worry. I just put in the code. If I haven't used the code at this studio twice before, then we can't. But I can't do that because the code is invalid. Blank, in fact, in that case. There you go. I have been booked into that class, made a student booked into a class. There's 3 yogahive passes left, and for that person, and they'll get sent an email saying you've been booked, and I'll get an email too, just reminding me for some reason, and also I'll get a send one notice to the studio themselves, to the yogahive managers themselves as well. Okay, so that's complicated, but they're the main user stories for claiming passes.